Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us on the line, we have Ken Londoner. He's the Chairman and CEO of BioSig Technologies. We also have Dr. Jerry Zeldis. He's the Executive Chair for Viral Clear. And we're going to learn more about BioSig's response to COVID-19 and what it's doing to move ahead solutions for all of us. It's great to have you both with us. Thanks so much for making the time. Ken, I'm going to kick this off with you. Tell us about BioSig and its connection to Viral Clear.
BioSig is an 11-year-old medical technology company founded in Los Angeles, California. We listed on the Nasdaq in 2018, so we've been with you for a couple of years. And Dr. Zeldis has been on our board of directors in two tours starting in 2014. I've known Dr. Zeldis for a couple of decades, going back to his cell gene leadership, and he had brought to my attention that he had a drug that he thought could be effective against the coronavirus COVID-19. And after a quick period of diligence in our board's review, we acquired two of his drug properties into BioSig. So we're majority holder of Viral Clear.
All right, and Dr. Zeldis, if you can tell us what Vicromax is.
Yeah. Vicromax is it's also known as mirimipidine, or MMP, is an inhibitor of an enzyme which is essential for the synthesis of guanosine, one of the four nucleotides that make up DNA and RNA. What we've determined over the years is that if a virus is rapidly replicating, by starving it of guanosine, it can't replicate, and then it's eliminated.
So when are trials anticipated to start with Vicromax, and when will it eventually be available for use?
We anticipate starting our first clinical trial in patients with COVID-19 disease in May. At this juncture, we are going through the appropriate regulatory processes so that we have an IND and IRB approval so we can begin the trial.
All right, and Dr. Zeldis, I also want to ask, how is this different from the number of vaccines and treatments being rushed to go to trial and ultimately to the population? Can there be more than one therapy or a combination of therapies?
Yes. First of all, our drug is an antiviral and has immune modulatory properties. It's not a vaccine. Vaccines are used to treat the population in a wholesale manner to prevent them from becoming infected. Antivirals and immune modulatory drugs are used once a person is infected. The scope, the beauty of this drug, of Vicromax, is that it's affecting a host synthetic pathway. So it's independent of virus. Viruses do not carry this pathway with them in their genome, and therefore it's highly unlikely that they will develop resistance to this type of inhibition of their replication, as would happen if you had a viral-directed antiviral therapy. We believe that the activity we're seeing in our tissue culture model is potent enough that it should have a direct effect on patients with COVID-19. However, we're now exploring whether if you combine it with other drugs, especially viral-directed antivirals, whether you see an additive effect or a synergistic effect, a 1 + 1 = 3, so to speak. And that data is now rapidly being accrued, and we'll have more to talk about that in the near future. Because, as you know, with a variety of important infections such as HIV and HCV, because mutations viruses escape the antiviral therapy when it's given as monotherapy, combination therapy is used to decrease the emergence of resistant strains of the virus. We anticipate that eventually will be combined with something else to prevent escape mutations from occurring.
Okay, and Doctor, one last question, and Ken, I'll ask you to follow up. What can we learn from COVID-19 for future pandemics and treatment?
Well, what we are learning right now is that this drug, before we've gone in the clinic, has the potential for treating any future pandemic by a virus such as this. And therefore, what we need to determine over the next year is which combinations to give and then how to appropriately stockpile this agent with other agents so that there can be a rapid response if some other epidemic or pandemic arises.
Okay, and Ken, I'll ask you to follow up. What can we learn from this pandemic that we're dealing with right now? What does it look like for the future?
One of the things we're doing operationally with the team is trying to basically ramp up production of this drug, assuming that we will be able to get the proper signal in the clinic and be able to produce enough doses where we can, furnish the public with an important medication and also enable the stockpiling and distribution, as Dr. Zeldis said. If there's an echo effect or if there's a mutation that comes back this time next year, there'll be a medication available to be able to deal with it. And so that requires a lot of planning, a lot of provisioning of the ingredients that go into this drug and the manufacturing facilities that can produce it. It's not a trivial amount of work, and Jerry has an outstanding team working and doing that as we speak. So being prepared to help deal with the current version of the issue, getting people back to work, and then being able to make enough product to furnish the public with stockpile is very important.
I had one other thing.
Yes, of course.
One of the things that I've learned and is very reassuring is that in an extraordinary time, you find people doing extraordinary things. And it is amazing that a biotechnology company such as BioSig, which is not a pharmaceutical company, the entire board and management of the company gave their resources to us to try to develop something which might be meaningful in this pandemic. And that just shows the humanity of capitalism. So I'm touched that we've gone so far, so fast with the support of BioSig.
All right, Dr. Zeldis, Ken, thank you so much for everything that you're doing to keep us safe.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, and thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.